Welcome back to another episode of Sound Pals Go to the Movies. Today I'll be reviewing the movie If. So just a fair warning, there's going to be spoilers up ahead, so you've been warned. A young girl who goes through a difficult experience begins to see everyone's imaginary friends who have been left behind as their real life friends have grown up. So let's begin with my first pro. A touching story about losing one's innocence and imagination as one grows up and real life comes along. Everyone experiences life differently, but we can all agree that life was easier as a kid. It was nothing but having fun and not having a care in the world. Well, that is until life hits you in the face and says, here I am. That can be due to various things from financial difficulties, loss of loved ones, mental health, or health overall. And sometimes small things that just keep adding up until they become a big thing. So this film reminds viewers of the simpler times and follows B, played by Cailey Fleming, as she finds herself going through a hard time in life. But she rediscovers that there are imaginary friends and that she herself had one but just needs to remember. Next pro, the voice acting talent behind the imaginary friend characters are big names for sometimes a small amount of screen time. We have Emily Blunt, George Clooney, Bradley Cooper, Matt Damon, Bill Hader, Michael Keegan-Key, Blake Lively, Sam Rockwell, Jon Stewart, Maya Rudolph, Stephen Carell, and one special one that I feel was given credit due to Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool and wanting to keep this joke alive. It was Brad Pitt playing Keith, the invisible imaginary friend that never spoke in the film. So yeah, they all gave each character a real feel to them and not just phoning it in, even if it means for that character to be on screen for a few moments. They really gave him life, and that's one thing that I really enjoyed in the film. Next pro, the imaginary friends are visually pleasing to watch on screen and they pair well with the main character B. Imaginary Friends reminds me of an episode of The Amazing World of Gumball mixed with Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It just seems that they stepped from those shows into this movie, and that was great to see. B also gave you the feel that she was lonely and that she didn't fit in anywhere else, and did fit the retro theme with the apartment and everything in her surroundings, especially with her wardrobe matching that, which made her have, in my personal opinion, a retro modern style and feel. Next pro, John Krasinski is not just a director and writer, but he also plays the dad and voices the imaginary friend Burning Marshmallow. But we also saw that Steve Carell voiced the imaginary friend Blue in this film, and this is special to all those fans of The Office TV show because both actors John and Steve were big names in that show, and now they come together to work in this film together, which I understand a lot of fans really love. And now on to my cons. So John played the dad and Ryan Reynolds played Cal, but they both gave me the same vibes, as if they were the same person. So again, spoilers, since Ryan Reynolds' character Cal turns out to be B's imaginary friend that she had when she was a child, could it be that she modeled Cal after her dad, since they both show the same traits and mannerisms? And also, maybe she was afraid of losing her dad and not having someone left, since she already had lost her mom. But if so, why didn't the movie show us this once B found out that Cal was her imaginary friend? Even if it's not true, I wanted to find out Cal's and B's backstory before and after her mom's death. But the movie just passed over it like if we knew what had happened. Next con, one scene that really bugged me was when B's dad, John Krasinski, had the heart surgery and he was recovering. This was a point in the movie where B would have reached her lowest point and had to learn something valuable, but the issue or the hurdle was overcome in under a minute. Why not play this scene a bit longer? Have her shut everyone out and become depressed, and have the ifs, Blossom, Blue, Cal, and others try to console her to no avail, and slowly for them to fade away and disappear. This would have led her to find herself alone and scared, but Cal would not be around to give her advice. So she would have to go look for him, and this is where she finds out the backstory from her grandmother, thus giving her the motivation to get her spark back and also not letting her dad go. And she begins to decorate his hospital room with happy things, memories from her past that they shared together, and thus telling him the story of the girl being afraid to be alone and scared, and that she really needs him to stay alive. Well, anyways, that's how I would have approached that scene versus how the movie approached it after the surgery and making us feel he was going to die, and for her to be sad and telling him the story, and boom, he wakes up. I just feel that the way the movie did it was a cop-out, and I blame mostly the studio because I feel that it was they who had changed it because of the fear of the young audience being afraid of the real topic at hand. Next con. So the movie trailer sold the movie as a kid's film about B and Ryan's and their matchmaking company for ifs. But in reality, it was a movie for adults to remember what they had lost and search deep in their memories for those forgotten happy memories they had as kids. This film was made for those people who've been down and having lost something or someone special, but forgetting that those memories we made are what keeps them or those things alive within us. Next con. If Cal was B's if, why was he grumpy when he met her and even after? I get why the other ifs are sad and depressed. It's because they lost their kids, but B came back to Cal, and the first time they meet, she is talking directly to him, and she even sees him when they're on the street. So doesn't this mean that she remembers him? So why is he a downer and acting grumpy towards her? instead of being happy and helping her remember things, like bro, just be happy she is back and she remembers you and is able to see you. Just look at the other ifs and see how they're acting. Next con, if Keith is an invisible if, and at the end we find out he is John Krasinski's if when John trips over him and he calls out his name, then wouldn't this mean that John still has his if? And if so, why is Keith being stepped over by Ryan or Cal at the retirement home for ifs? To find this answer, we need to go directly to Keith himself, Brad Pitt, right? Even though it's a running joke. So my grade for this movie is going to be a 6 out of 10. Very interesting story idea. It had potential, but there are so many questions that it raised and no answers to be found anywhere. Also, the part where we would see B hit her lowest point in the film and then get back up again, having learned something wise, really never happened. I mean, I didn't really want to see her dad die, but he could have been in critical care a bit longer, so his daughter could have gone through that small character development arc a bit longer and learned to accept that she was scared of life and she doesn't want to be alone, thus the speech she gives John before he wakes up. Still, the idea that there are all these characters, but the execution really was lacking. The film does radiate humor, magic, and imagination, which kind of made up for some of the parts that are lacking. Still, I would say wait for it to come on a streaming service if you are thinking of taking your kids or friends to go watch this. So that does it for this review of If. Please join us next time where we're going to review Young Woman and the Sea.
I've decided to swim the English Channel.
What do you mean?
I'm going to swim the English Channel.
No, I'm saying...
I wasn't asking. Please pass the bread.
Please like, comment, and subscribe. You can find our social media links below. And like always, keep watching movies.